Hello, my dear students. With exams just around the corner, I know things can get a little stressful. But don't you worry, today we're going to quickly and very easily revise the chapter Going Places. It's a beautiful story about dreams, reality, and the amazing worlds we build inside our heads. Let's start.
The whole story really begins with this one line from our main character, Sophie. She says, "When I leave, I'm going to have a boutique." Now this sounds like a simple dream, right? But this one sentence, it's the key to understanding her entire world. It's not just a plan, it's her escape.
All right, let's get into it. The first thing we absolutely need to understand is Sophie's character. And the best way to do that is by looking at her dreams and seeing how they are so different from everyone else around her.
Now, bacho, exam alert! A very common question is to compare Sophie and Jansie. It's actually quite simple. Think of Sophie as the dreamer. Her head is always up in the clouds. She wants a boutique, to be an actress, so glamorous. But her friend Jansie, she's the realist. Her feet are firmly on the ground. She knows they are both probably going to end up working at the biscuit factory.
And you know, for Sophie, it wasn't just about one dream. Her imagination was always running wild. A boutique was just the start. Then maybe she'd be an actress or a famous fashion designer. She wanted a life that was, as the book says, something a bit sophisticated, a life far away from her reality.
So we've seen Sophie's dream world. But what was her actual world like? What was the reality she was trying so hard to escape? This contrast, this big gap between her dreams and her life, is the heart of the story.
This picture really shows how Sophie must have felt, don't you think? Just imagine feeling trapped inside a small, crowded, steamy house when your mind is dreaming of big, beautiful, open spaces. It's this feeling of being stuck that made her dreams grow even bigger and more colorful. So, this brings us to another really important exam question. What was Sophie's family background? What was their financial situation? The textbook doesn't just tell us directly, it gives us little clues. We have to be detectives and find them. So let's look at the clues. The house is small and messy. There's dirty laundry piled up. Her poor mother's back is bent from all the hard work. Her father comes home from his job all dirty and sweaty. When you put all this together, it paints a very clear picture, right? They were a lower middle-class family working very hard just to get by. And her father's words here really highlight the situation. He tells Sophie, if you ever get money, don't buy a boutique. Buy us a blessed, decent house. See the difference? Sophie is dreaming of glamour, while her father is just dreaming of a better home. This is a great quote to use in your answers, Bacho.
So, to escape this reality, Sophie creates her biggest, most exciting fantasy of all, and it involves a famous football player. This is where the story about Danny Casey comes in.
And who is the first person she tells this fantastic secret to? Not Jansie. She tells her older brother, Geoff. To Sophie, Geoff was this cool, mysterious figure. She really looked up to him, and she felt he was the only one who could understand her world. Now look at how she tells the story. It's all in the little details. She wasn't just anywhere. She was at Royce's window. They couldn't get an autograph because they didn't have a pen or paper. She even says he seemed a little lonely. These details make her story sound so real that even her brother Geoff almost believes her for a moment. Her father, however, is not convinced at all, not one bit. He's probably heard many of Sophie's wild stories before. He just warns her, one of these days you're going to talk yourself into a load of trouble. Okay, now this is the saddest part of the story, Bacho. This is the moment where Sophie's beautiful, colorful dream world comes crashing into cold, hard reality. Can you believe it? She actually goes to her special place by the canal to wait for Danny Casey. In her mind, this is a real date. She truly, completely believes that he is going to show up. For her, the line between what's real and what's fantasy has become totally blurred. But as time passes, of course, he doesn't come. And that's when a little bit of doubt starts to creep in. The book uses this beautiful phrase, pangs of doubt. It's like a small pain, a small voice inside her head telling her that maybe, just maybe this wasn't real after all. And slowly she accepts the truth. He's not coming. And this realization feels like a heavy weight, a hard burden to carry. It's a very deep sadness, and it's a sadness she has to carry all by herself, because nobody else believed in her dream anyway. But here is the most fascinating thing about Sophie. Even after all the disappointment, as she walks home, she replays the entire meeting in her mind, just as she had imagined it.
This shows us that for Sophie, the experience in her head, the fantasy itself, was just as real and important to her as reality.
Okay, let's quickly summarize the most important points for your exams. These are the themes you must mention to get those full marks, so pay close attention.
So, what are the big ideas here? First, adolescent fantasizing, which is just a fancy way of saying teenage daydreaming and escapism. Then we have hero worship, her admiration for Danny Casey. And the most important one of all, the clash, the fight between dreams and reality. Make sure you talk about these in your answers. And to finish, I want to leave you with a thought from your own textbook. Is it okay for teenagers to have such unrealistic dreams? I mean, on one hand, dreams give us hope, right? But on the other, like with Sophie, they can also lead to sadness and disappointment. It's something to think about. All right, that's it for today. All the very best for your exams. You are all going to do wonderfully.